Have you ever had the feeling that time is slipping through your fingers, like fine sand you can't hold on to? Have you ever reached a Sunday evening with that tightness in your chest, wondering where the weekend went? Or more broadly, have you ever looked back on the past year and asked yourself, what did I really do with all that time? We live in a world obsessed with time management. Apps, techniques, books, all promising to help us squeeze more productivity out of every hour. We treat time like money, a commodity to be spent, saved, or invested. But what if this is a dangerously superficial view? What if the true value of time lies not in its quantity, but in its quality? Think of time not as a clock on the wall, but as the very canvas on which your life is painted. Every second is a brushstroke. Some are vibrant and full of purpose, others are gray and blurred by distraction. In the end, the work of art that results is your life. What are you painting? Let's embark on a journey to rediscover time. Not as an enemy to be conquered or a resource to be exploited, but as our most precious asset, the essence of our existence. We will unmask the thieves who steal our hours and learn to invest our moments in a life of more meaning, presence, and peace. If you feel like you're running on a treadmill, always busy but never getting anywhere, this content is for you. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Because today we're going to learn to stop counting the minutes and start making the minutes count. The great illusion, the myth of later. The biggest lie we tell ourselves about time is that there will always be more of it. We live under the illusion of an infinite ocean of hours, postponing our dreams, our passions, and even our happiness for a magical later that may never come. After I graduate, after I get the promotion, after the kids grow up, after I retire. I was a master of living in later. There was a guitar leaning in the corner of my room for years. I always told myself, I'll learn to play, but later. I'm too busy right now. There were books I wanted to read, trips I dreamed of taking, important conversations I needed to have. Everything was left for later. My present was a mere corridor, a passage I rushed through to get to an idealized future. The problem with later is that it's a mirage in the desert. The more you walk towards it, the further it moves away. Because when today's later arrives, it becomes now, and we, out of habit, create a new later on the horizon. It's a vicious cycle of postponement that robs us of the only thing we truly possess, the present moment. The reality check came for me in a harsh way. A close friend, full of plans for later, fell suddenly ill. His laters were canceled without warning. It was a shock, a bucket of cold water on my complacency. I realized that time is not a promise, it's a gift. Every day we receive is a blank check, and there's no guarantee we'll get another one tomorrow. This realization forced me to confront my own existential procrastination. What was I waiting for? Why was I treating my life like a dress rehearsal? The guitar in the corner of my room wasn't just an object. It was a symbol of all the dreams I was letting gather dust. That very week I signed up for a class. It was hard, my fingers hurt, the sound was terrible. But, for the first time, I was no longer in the corridor. I was in the room. I was living one of my laters, now. The trap of later is subtle because it seems prudent. It seems responsible. But in reality, it's a form of fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failing, fear of the discomfort of learning. Living in the now requires courage. It requires us to face our imperfections and start, even without being sure of the outcome. Stop postponing your life. The stage is now. The show has already begun. The currency you can't earn back. We grow up with the saying, time is money. It's a catchy phrase but fundamentally flawed. In fact, time is far more valuable than money. Why? Because money is a renewable resource. If you lose money, you can earn more. You can work more, invest better, create new income streams. But time is the only truly non-renewable resource. Every second that passes is gone forever. You can never, ever earn it back. When we internalize this truth, our perspective on how we use our hours changes dramatically. Think about it. Would you hand your wallet to a stranger on the street? Of course not. But we hand over our minutes and hours, every day, to activities and people that add no value to our lives without a second thought. We give our precious time to endless scrolling on social media, to office gossip, to unproductive meetings, to worrying about things we can't control. We are being robbed in broad daylight, and we are often complicit in the theft. I used to be very careless with my time. I said yes to everything. An invitation to an event I wasn't interested in? Yes. A request to help with a project that didn't align with my goals? Yes. I was afraid of disappointing others, afraid of missing out. The result was a packed schedule and an empty soul. I was constantly busy, but my actions weren't building the life I wanted. I was spending my most valuable currency on trivialities. The change began when I started treating my time with the same respect I treated my money. I started to budget my time. The first question before committing to anything became, is this the best investment for this hour of my life? This forced me to make tough decisions. I started saying, no. And I discovered something liberating. Every no I said to a low-value activity was a powerful yes to something that truly mattered. No to that unnecessary meeting was yes to an hour of focused work. No to that draining social event was yes to a night of rest or time with my family. No to the distraction of my phone was yes to reading a book. Saying no is not selfishness. It's strategic self-management. It's recognizing that you have a finite amount of this incredibly valuable currency and choosing to invest it wisely. The most successful and fulfilled people I know are not those who do more things. They are those who deliberately do fewer things but focus intensely on the ones that matter. They protect their time like a dragon protects its treasure. Because they understand that of all the treasures in the world, time is the only one that is truly irreplaceable. Memento mori, the gift of mortality. In ancient Rome, Stoic philosophers practiced a mental exercise called memento mori, which in Latin means remember that you will die. It may sound morbid, but it is, in fact, one of the most powerful tools for living a meaningful life. The awareness of death is not an invitation to depression, but an urgent call to life. Knowing that our time is finite is what gives it value. If we had all the time in the world, nothing would matter. We would procrastinate eternally because there would always be a tomorrow. It is the finish line that gives meaning to the race. I, like most people, lived avoiding the thought of death. It was an uncomfortable topic, something to be ignored. But as I studied Stoicism, I began to experiment with this practice. Every morning I would take a moment to reflect on the fragility of life. Not in a fearful way but in an appreciative way. I would think, if this were my last day on earth, how would I live it? Would I be spending my time on anger, on fear, on trivialities? Or would I fill it with courage, with love, with purpose? This daily practice worked like a filter. It helped me separate what was essential from what was trivial. The small argument with a coworker? Insignificant in light of mortality. The fear of trying something new? Ridiculous when you consider that the greatest failure is not to live fully. The time spent worrying about the opinions of others? A colossal waste of my limited time. Memento mori taught me the art of appreciation. Breakfast with my family became more than a routine. It became a precious moment. A walk in the park wasn't just exercise. It was an opportunity to feel the sun on my skin, to be alive. The practice anchored me in the present and filled ordinary moments with extraordinary beauty. Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford speech, said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important." You don't need a near-death experience to receive this gift. You can practice memento mori right now. Stop for a moment and contemplate the reality that your time here is a brief and beautiful anomaly in the vast silence of eternity. Let that awareness free you from fear. Let it inspire you not to waste another single day. Let it give you the courage to live the life you truly want to live, not the life others expect of you. Death is not the enemy of life, it is its wisest advisor. The thieves of time, identifying the modern culprits. If our time is so valuable, why do we lose it so easily? Because we are surrounded by professional time thieves, ingeniously designed to steal our attention, which is the currency of time. And the biggest of these thieves, the most cunning, is probably in your pocket or your hand right now, the smartphone. Social media, news apps, games, they aren't just tools, they are time extraction machines. They were designed by teams of brilliant engineers with a single goal: to keep you engaged for as long as possible. The infinite scroll, the notifications, the likes, each element is a small psychological hook, a dopamine hit that keeps us coming back for more. I was a perfect victim. I would pick up my phone to check a message and 45 minutes later, I would emerge from a trance, having gone through dozens of cat videos, vacation photos of people I barely knew, and angry political discussions. I hadn't planned to do that. The time had simply been stolen from me in 15-second slices. And the worst part was the feeling afterwards. An emptiness, a sense of time ill spent, a slight anxiety. But time thieves are not just digital. They can be internal as well. One of the biggest is worry. Worrying is using your imagination to create a future you don't want. It's spending present time mentally rehearsing catastrophes that, most of the time, never happen. I used to spend hours worrying about work presentations, difficult conversations, what others thought of me. It was like sitting in a rocking chair. It gave me something to do, but it didn't get me anywhere. Another subtle thief is multitasking. We pride ourselves on being multitaskers, believing we're being efficient. But neuroscience shows that the brain doesn't multitask. It just switches rapidly between tasks, and each switch has a cognitive cost. Trying to answer emails while in a meeting, or watching TV while talking to your partner, is not efficiency. It's doing two things poorly at the same time. It's giving each activity only a fraction of your attention, diluting the quality of your experience and your result. Identifying your personal time thieves is the first step to regaining control. Take an honest inventory. Where is your time leaking? Is it the phone? Is it chronic worry? Is it the inability to focus on a single task? Is it saying yes to everything? Once you name the thieves, you can start building your defenses. Put the phone in another room when you need to focus. Schedule a 15-minute worry time each day, and outside of that time, refuse to engage in anxious thoughts. Practice monotasking. Protect your time with the same ferocity you would protect your home from burglars. Because what they are stealing is not just your time, it's your life. From spending to investing, a new time economy. The fundamental shift in our relationship with time happens when we stop spending it and start investing it. What's the difference? Spending is consumption. It's a one-way transaction that leaves a void. Investing is allocating a resource with the expectation of a future return. Think of it this way, spending 3 hours passively scrolling through Instagram is spending time. The return is zero or even negative anxiety comparison. Spending 3 hours reading a challenging book, learning a new skill, or having a deep conversation with a friend is investing time. The return is immense: knowledge, growth, connection. To become a conscious investor of my time, I adopted a simple but transformative practice: intentional planning. Instead of waking up and letting the day carry me away, I started taking 10 minutes every morning to decide in advance what my main time investments for that day would be. I would identify 1 to 3 crucial tasks that, if completed, would make that day a win regardless of everything else. This changed everything. It gave me a sense of purpose and direction. Instead of reacting to the world's demands, I was acting on my own priorities. This short list of investments became my compass for the day. When a distraction or an unexpected request arose, I could ask, does this help me advance on my investments for today? If the answer was no, it became much easier to refuse. Another concept that helped me was deep time versus shallow time. Shallow time is when we're doing many things but none with full focus. It's answering emails, attending meetings, doing administrative tasks. It's necessary, but it doesn't generate great value. Deep time is when we are in a state of total concentration, without distractions, working on a single task that requires our full cognitive capacity. It is in this state that we learn difficult things, solve complex problems, and create our best work. I realized that most of my day was consumed by shallow time. I was always busy but rarely productive in what really mattered. So, I started scheduling blocks of deep time in my calendar, as if they were the most important meetings of the day. During these 60 to 90-minute blocks, I would turn off all notifications, close all unnecessary tabs, and dedicate myself to a single task. It was difficult at first. My distraction-addicted mind resisted. But with practice, the ability to concentrate deeply became a superpower. I could accomplish in 90 minutes of deep time what used to take a full day of shallow work. Become the manager of your own time portfolio. Analyze your assets, your hours. Divest from the investments that yield no return, the time thieves. Double down on those that generate compound interest of growth and satisfaction. Your future life is the direct result of the time investments you make today. The richness of the present moment. We can philosophize about time, plan it, protect it, but in the end, the only dimension of time we can truly experience is the now. The past is a ghost, a collection of memories and lessons. The future is a mirage, a projection of hopes and fears. The only place where life happens is in the present moment. However, most of us live anywhere but here. Our minds are time machines that constantly transport us to other places. When we're at work, we think about what we'll do on the weekend. When we're on the weekend, we worry about Monday's work. We live in a state of chronic absence. I was a professional time traveler. During a dinner with my wife, my mind was replaying a stressful meeting from the day. While playing with my son, I was secretly checking emails on my phone. I was physically present but mentally absent. I was robbing myself of the richness of my own experiences. The practice of mindfulness was the antidote. Mindfulness is the simple practice of bringing your attention, on purpose, to the present moment without judgment. It's not something mystical. Is training for your mind like weightlifting for your brain? I started with the breath. Just a few minutes a day, sitting in silence, focusing on the sensation of air entering and leaving my body. When my mind wandered, which it did every few seconds, I would gently bring it back to the breath. Each return was a repetition, strengthening my presence muscle. Then I started to bring this practice into everyday life. When drinking my coffee, I would try to really feel the warmth of the cup, the aroma, the taste. When walking, I would feel the contact of my feet with the ground, the wind on my face. I was learning to inhabit my own life. The result was a transformation in the quality of my time. Time didn't slow down, but it became denser, richer. Moments that once passed unnoticed became filled with life. A conversation with a friend became more connected. Food became more flavorful. Work became more focused. Most of our suffering comes from our resistance to the present moment. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. Peace lives in the now. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stop for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Look around you and notice something you hadn't noticed before. Come home to the only place where life truly exists, this exact moment. The quality of your time is determined by the depth of your presence. The paradox of wasting time. In our productivity-obsessed culture, wasting time is the cardinal sin. Every minute must be optimized, every hour must be productive. Rest is seen as laziness and boredom is something to be avoided at all costs. But what if this view is wrong? What if the time we consider wasted is actually essential for a life well lived? There is a paradox here. To use our time more effectively, we paradoxically need to become comfortable with wasting it. I'm referring to time spent without a clear objective. Rest, reflection, boredom, daydreaming. Think about rest. We treat it as what we do when we're too exhausted to be productive. But rest is not the opposite of productivity, it's an integral part of it. Just as an athlete needs recovery days for their muscles to rebuild stronger, our minds need downtime to consolidate learning, make new connections and recharge creative energy. A day spent reading fiction, an afternoon spent in a hammock, an evening doing absolutely nothing. This is not wasted time. It is essential maintenance. And what about boredom? We fear it. At the first sign of boredom, we reach for our phones to fill the void. But boredom is the womb of creativity. When our mind is not being bombarded by external stimuli, it begins to wander. It makes unexpected connections between ideas. It solves problems that were latent in our subconscious. Some of my best ideas didn't come while I was working hard, but during a long, aimless walk or while staring out the window bored. I used to feel guilty for not being productive 100% of the time. If I took an afternoon off, an inner voice would accuse me of being lazy. The change came when I reframed my view of time. I began to see rest and reflection time not as a luxury, but as part of my work. It was the time I was sharpening the axe. Embrace the empty spaces in your calendar. Allow yourself to be bored. Take long walks without a podcast in your ears. Sit in a cafe without a book or a laptop and just watch the world go by. Turn everything off and do nothing. It is in these moments of quiet, of unproductive time, that we often find the clarity, creativity, and wisdom we so desperately seek in our busy lives. Sometimes, the most valuable way to use time is to simply let it be. So, we come to the end of our journey. We have seen that time is not an infinite resource, but the most precious and non-renewable currency we have. We have seen that awareness of our mortality can free us to live more fully. We have identified the thieves that steal our hours and learned to invest our time with intention and purpose. And we have discovered the unfathomable richness that lies in the present moment. The value of your time is not measured in productivity, in money, or in achievements. The true value of your time is measured in life, in presence, in connection, in growth, and love. The question I leave you with is this. Looking at your life right now, what is the most important time investment that you have been neglecting? Is it learning that skill? Is it spending more quality time with your family? Is it taking care of your health? Is it simply resting? Whatever the answer, commit to investing just 30 minutes in it today. Not tomorrow, not later. Today. Because now is the only time you have control over. It is the only time that exists. Share in the comments what the biggest time thief is in your life and what small change you will make to combat it. Your journey may inspire someone else's. Let's continue to learn together to live more intentional lives. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Time is passing. Let's make it count.